Chosen one, heaven has opened a vault that was sealed specifically for you, and what was delayed now carries your name. This is not poetic language, this is spiritual reality. While you were under pressure that few could see and even fewer could understand, heaven was watching your every response. When compromise whispered that it would be easier to bend, you stood firm. When obedience demanded a cost that felt unfair, you paid it anyway. When walking away felt like death, you trusted God more than your own understanding. And every one of those moments was recorded. God's reaction to your endurance has triggered a release you never expected, at a timing you could not control but were being prepared for. Even now, as your eyes move across these words, your favor is shifting position. What was hidden is becoming visible. What was delayed is being activated. What was blocked is beginning to break open. The moment you crossed into today, something changed in the unseen realm. A decision was finalized. A verdict was enforced. That subtle stirring you felt in your spirit, the quiet pressure in your chest that made you pause for no clear reason, was not anxiety. It was confirmation. Something was already set in motion before you realized it. This season explains the warfare. It explains the doors that refused to open no matter how hard you knocked. It explains the silent stretches where prayers felt unanswered and hope felt dangerous. It explains why you were required to endure without applause, to obey without reassurance, to believe without evidence. None of it was wasted. None of it was accidental. You were being prepared for what cannot be carried by an unrefined vessel. You did not merely survive what was meant to destroy you. You resisted it. You stood upright under pressure that should have crushed you. You chose integrity when dishonesty promised relief. You chose faith when fear surrounded your thoughts like a flood. You chose obedience when rebellion would have felt justified. And that choice sent shockwaves through the unseen realm. You must understand this clearly now, because clarity is part of your breakthrough. The true battle was never against people. It was not the betrayal that cut deep. It was not the authority figure who overlooked you. It was not the relationship that collapsed or the opportunity that vanished at the last moment. Those were surface manifestations. The real war was spiritual. Forces you could not see were resisting acceleration, attempting to slow what God intended to move quickly. Every delay was strategic opposition. Every closed door was interference. Every moment of confusion was designed to make you question whether God still remembered your name. The enemy recognized something about you early on. He saw your capacity before you fully understood it. He sensed the weight you carry in the spirit realm. He knew that once you passed this test, once your integrity remained intact under pressure, once your faith refused to collapse, everything would shift. That is why the resistance intensified when you were already tired. That is why the attacks came in waves. That is why you were pressed on all sides. But you held the line anyway. The heaviness you carried was never just your own. You were bearing weight that existed long before you were born. You were assigned as the cycle breaker in a bloodline that never had one. Patterns of lack, delay, emotional suppression, spiritual stagnation, and near success were not random occurrences. They were inherited systems fighting to survive. Every financial strain was more than money. Every almost but not quite moment was a generational pattern attempting to repeat itself. But you chose differently. You refused to continue what wounded those before you. You stood when others settled. You questioned what others accepted. You broke agreement with what no longer aligned with God's intention. Your isolation was never rejection. It was divine strategy. God withdrew you from environments that would have diluted your discernment. He separated you from voices that would have normalized compromise. He quieted your surroundings so you could hear Him clearly. What felt like loneliness was actually protection. What felt like abandonment was concealment. Like a seed buried in the soil, you were hidden not because you were forgotten, but because growth requires darkness before emergence. Had you surfaced too early, you would have been uprooted. Had you remained exposed, Your roots would never have gone deep enough to sustain what is coming. You have always been sensitive in ways others could not explain. From an early age, you sensed what others ignored. You felt tension before words were spoken. You recognized inconsistency between what people said and what they carried. But discernment without permission to speak creates internal pressure. You learned to swallow truth to maintain peace. You learned to silence yourself to avoid conflict. You learned to doubt your own perception because it made others uncomfortable. That suppression did not disappear. It settled into your body as anxiety, restlessness, and exhaustion. But hear this now, your sensitivity was never a flaw. It is evidence of your calling. What you perceive is not imagination, it is alignment. The enemy tried to convince you that your awareness was a curse. He isolated you for telling the truth. He labeled you difficult, intense, or dramatic for refusing to ignore what God revealed. He attempted to turn your gift into a wound. But even wounded, you held on to it. Even misunderstood, you remained faithful. And now that gift is being refined, sharpened, and trusted, this test was never about perfection. Heaven was not measuring performance. You were not being evaluated by how eloquently you prayed, how much you sacrificed publicly, or how spiritually impressive you appeared. The measurement was obedience, quiet obedience, costly obedience, hidden obedience, obedience when no one applauded, obedience when it hurt, obedience when it would have been easier to justify disobedience. And in those moments you were found faithful. You obeyed when forgiveness felt undeserved. You stayed silent when defending yourself would have felt right. You walked away from what felt good but was misaligned. You trusted God with resources when fear demanded control. Every one of those choices became evidence. And that evidence unlocked what comes next. You waited longer than you thought you could endure. You prayed prayers that felt unanswered. You declared promises that seemed distant. You held on to hope while others advised you to let go. And for a moment it felt cruel. But God does not move according to human urgency. He moves according to divine order. And when that order aligns, movement happens suddenly. The preparation was not wasted. It was essential. What is being released requires strength, clarity, and spiritual capacity. God was expanding you so that the blessing would not destroy you, so the favor would not overwhelm you, so the responsibility would not collapse you. You were being built to carry what you asked for. There is a reason the resistance against you was relentless. You carry something rare, something powerful, something that threatens darkness every time you pray. You are not ordinary. You are entrusted. The enemy tried to extinguish you early because he recognized the impact of what God placed inside you. But you survived. You endured. You passed. Now what was hidden will become visible. What was questioned will be confirmed. What was doubted will be undeniable. Everything you endured is being woven into purpose. This is not your ending. This is your alignment. This is the moment where preparation meets release, where obedience meets acceleration, where waiting gives way to movement. Heaven has responded, and nothing that stood against you will be able to stand much longer. You waited far beyond the point you once believed was possible. You held on when the silence grew heavy. You prayed when answers did not come. You declared truth even when circumstances contradicted your faith. While others released their grip, you tightened yours, not because it was easy, but because something within you knew letting go was not an option. For a long stretch of time, it appeared as though nothing was shifting. Days blurred into weeks, and weeks into seasons. Yet heaven was not idle. God was never absent. He was working beyond the limits of human clocks, operating according to divine order rather than earthly impatience. And when God moves, he does not inch forward, he moves suddenly. Throughout Scripture, the rhythm is unmistakable. Years of preparation are often followed by a single moment of acceleration. Extended seasons of hiddenness give way to instant visibility. What appeared stalled for a lifetime can change in one day, because divine timing does not respond to pressure, it responds to readiness. Joseph waited in obscurity, betrayal and confinement, only to rise in a moment. David endured anonymity and pursuit before stepping into kingship. Esther lived quietly until one decisive moment altered the fate of a nation. The same pattern that governed their lives is aligning with yours now. Nothing you endured was unnecessary. Nothing was wasted. Every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer was shaping you for what is being released. God was not withholding, He was strengthening. What is coming requires capacity. It requires stability of heart, clarity of mind, and depth of spirit. If it had arrived earlier, it would have overwhelmed you. So God expanded you in secret. He increased your endurance, refined your discernment, and strengthened your inner life so you could carry the weight of blessing without collapsing beneath it. The resistance you faced was not random. The opposition was not accidental. Darkness does not waste energy attacking what carries no threat. The pressure you endured was confirmation that you are entrusted with something rare, something potent, something that disrupts darkness simply by existing. Every time you pray, something shifts. Every time you stand, something weakens in the unseen. The enemy recognized your assignment before you fully understood it yourself, and he attempted to extinguish your light early. But he failed. You are still here. You endured what was meant to end you. You survived what was designed to silence you. You passed tests you did not even know were being administered. When despair whispered surrender, you stayed. When exhaustion begged you to stop believing, you continued. Heaven took note of every moment you chose faith over fear, and now the season is turning. What was hidden is coming into view. What was misunderstood will be clarified. What others questioned will soon be confirmed by fruit. What they doubted will become undeniable. The pain you endured is being restructured into purpose. The tears you shed are becoming testimony. The delays are aligning into divine acceleration. This is not a slow transition. This is an activation. From this point forward, intentional alignment matters. Begin each day with declaration before distraction. Speak truth before you engage the noise of the world. Align your words with heaven before circumstances attempt to define your mood or direction. Pray with precision over your resources, your relationships, and your assignment. Be deliberate about what you allow into your atmosphere. What you tolerate can interrupt what is being activated. Guard your peace fiercely. Replace chaos with worship. Let praise recalibrate your focus. Worship is not background noise, it is spiritual alignment. It clears resistance and sharpens discernment. Give generously even while you are in transition, because generosity during testing unlocks multiplication in the next season. What you release in faith returns with increase. Let these declarations become daily anchors, spoken not from desperation but from authority. My steps are ordered and aligned by God. Delay has no dominion over my future. Confusion is dismantled at the root. Doors God opens cannot be closed by opposition. Favor surrounds me in seen and unseen places. I am prepared, equipped, and ready. Provision meets me exactly where obedience leads. Every form of spiritual resistance is broken. I step fully into divine acceleration with faith and obedience. Pause here. Breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart. The steady rhythm you feel is evidence of perseverance. It is proof you are still standing, still called, still chosen, still entrusted. Your endurance was not accidental, it was cultivated. Father, we thank you for every tear you caught and every moment you shielded. Thank you for preserving what the enemy attempted to destroy. Thank you for strengthening what could have been shattered. We declare peace over the mind, strength over the heart, and clarity over the path ahead. Every scheme designed to delay destiny is dismantled now. Every assignment authored in heaven is sealed and protected. Let what has already been established in the unseen manifest now in the visible realm. What was locked is unlocked. What was held back is released. What was promised is activated. This chapter is not ending, it is accelerating. Walk forward with confidence. Carry yourself with quiet authority. You are not late, you are right on time. You passed the test, and what heaven has unlocked belongs to you now.